They were the children of one of the most glamorous and international figures ever to marry into the British royal family, Princess Marina, Duchess of Kent, a Greek and Danish princess who became a wartime widow and raised 3 royal children whose lives stretched from the 1930s into the modern era. Unlike their cousins in the core line of succession, these 3 Kent children followed quieter but still significant paths inside the House of Windsor. Their lives included military careers, major charity work, royal representation abroad, marriages that shaped the modern Kent family, and descendants who continue to play roles in public or semi-public life today. This is the full, chronological, clear account of what happened to Princess Marina's children, from birth to legacy. Prince Edward. George Nicholas Patrick was born on 9th October 1935 at Coppens, the Kent family's country residence in Buckinghamshire. As the first child of Prince George, Duke of Kent, and Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark, Edward entered the world as 4th in line to the throne, behind his uncle, the future George VI, and his cousins Elizabeth and Margaret. The birth marked the beginning of what would become a distinguished but notably separate branch of the Windsor family tree. Prince George had married Princess Marina in November 1934, bringing together the British royal house with the displaced but culturally rich Greek royal family. Marina's heritage traced back through the Danish royal line and Russian imperial connections, making their son, Edward, a repository of diverse European royal bloodlines. The marriage had been celebrated as one of genuine affection rather than mere diplomatic convenience, and the couple had established themselves at Coppens as a modern royal family with international sensibilities. Edward's birth was welcomed by King George V, his great-grandfather, who saw in the baby the continuation of the Kent line. The child's multiple names reflected his complex heritage: George for his grandfather the king, Nicholas for his maternal great-uncle, Tsar Nicholas II, and Patrick in honor of St. Patrick, acknowledging Ireland within the British realm. Edward's early years at Coppens were marked by the unique atmosphere his parents created there. Prince George and Princess Marina had transformed the Buckinghamshire estate into a center of artistic and intellectual life, hosting musicians, writers, and international figures. This cosmopolitan environment shaped Edward's earliest experiences, exposing him to multiple languages and cultural influences that would prove formative throughout his life. Marina, drawing on her own multilingual upbringing, ensured that Edward heard Greek, French, and German alongside English from infancy. The household staff reflected this international character, with Greek servants from Marina's retinue working alongside traditional British staff. This linguistic diversity became a hallmark of the Kent family's approach to child-rearing, setting them apart from the more traditionally British atmosphere of other royal households. The toddler, Prince Edward, displayed an early aptitude for languages and showed particular interest in the military uniforms and ceremonial aspects of royal life. Visitors to Coppens noted his precocious ability to greet guests in their native languages and his fascination with the formal protocols that governed royal interactions. These early traits would prove prophetic of his later military career and diplomatic sensibilities. Prince George's duties frequently took him away from Coppens, but he remained a devoted father who took active interest in Edward's development. The Duke of Kent was particularly keen that his son should understand both his British responsibilities and his broader European heritage, a balance that would define Edward's approach to royal duty throughout his life. The trajectory of Edward's life changed dramatically on 25th August 1942 when Prince George was killed in an aircraft crash while on active service with the Royal Air Force. Edward, just 6 years old, suddenly inherited his father's dukedom, becoming the youngest Duke of Kent in the title's history. The tragedy transformed both his personal circumstances and his constitutional position within the royal family. Princess Marina, now a widow at 25 with 3 young children, faced the challenge of raising her family alone while maintaining their royal status and obligations. The loss of Prince George was particularly devastating because he had been closely involved in planning his children's upbringing and had clear ideas about balancing their royal heritage with practical education. Marina would now have to interpret and implement these plans without his guidance. King George VI, recognizing the vulnerability of his sister-in-law's position, took a close interest in young Edward's welfare and education. The king understood that Edward, as the new Duke of Kent, would need careful preparation for his future role while being protected from premature exposure to public responsibilities. This royal oversight would prove crucial in shaping Edward's character and sense of duty. The wartime context of Prince George's death meant that Edward's inheritance of the dukedom occurred against a backdrop of national crisis and uncertainty. This timing would profoundly influence his understanding of service and sacrifice, themes that would recur throughout his later military and royal career. Following preparatory education that emphasized classical languages and British history, Edward entered Eton College in 1949, joining the long tradition of royal education at the prestigious institution. His time at Eton was carefully structured to provide both academic rigor and the social formation considered essential for his future royal role. Unlike his father, who had sometimes struggled with the constraints of royal protocol, Edward embraced the discipline and traditions of his education. At Eton, Edward demonstrated particular aptitude in modern languages, history, and classical studies. His tutors noted his serious approach to learning and his natural leadership abilities, qualities that distinguished him from some of his more rebellious contemporaries. The Duke of Kent's reputation among both masters and fellow students was that of a conscientious and reliable young man who understood the weight of his inheritance. The social environment at Eton provided Edward with lasting friendships among the British aristocratic and upper-middle classes, relationships that would prove valuable throughout his later career. His contemporaries included future business leaders, diplomats, and military officers, creating a network that would support his various endeavors in adult life. This peer group also helped normalize his royal status, allowing him to develop confidence in social situations without the deference that might have hindered his personal growth. Edward's academic performance was consistently strong, though not exceptional. His masters recognized that his strength lay not in brilliant intellectual achievement, but in steady application and sound judgment. These qualities would prove more valuable in his later royal and military career than academic brilliance might have been. In 1952, reflecting Princess Marina's determination to provide her children with a genuinely international education, Edward spent 2 terms at Institut La Rosie in Switzerland. This decision demonstrated Marina's continuing influence over her son's development and her commitment to the cosmopolitan values she and Prince George had shared. La Rosie's international student body and emphasis on languages aligned perfectly with the Kent family's multicultural approach to royal preparation. The Swiss interlude proved transformative for Edward's linguistic abilities and cultural awareness. He perfected his French and German while encountering students from across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. This exposure to international perspectives would later prove invaluable in his role as a working member of the British royal family, with particular responsibilities for Commonwealth and international relations. La Rosie's relaxed but disciplined environment allowed Edward to develop independence while maintaining the structured approach to learning he had cultivated at Eton. The school's emphasis on outdoor activities and practical skills complemented his academic studies, providing a more rounded education than might have been available through purely British institutions. The experience also strengthened Edward's appreciation for his mother's European heritage and helped him understand the advantages of maintaining international connections. This perspective would influence his later approach to royal duties, particularly his enthusiasm for representing Britain abroad and his effectiveness in diplomatic and ceremonial roles. Edward's first significant public appearances began in 1953, following the coronation of his cousin, Queen Elizabeth II. At 17, he participated in family occasions and ceremonial events that introduced him to the British public as a working member of the younger generation of the royal family. These early appearances were carefully managed to allow him to gain experience while avoiding excessive media attention. His debut at major state occasions demonstrated his natural aptitude for ceremonial roles. Observers noted his composure during lengthy formal events and his ability to maintain the dignified bearing expected of a royal duke. These qualities, combined with his evident respect for protocol and tradition, marked him as a reliable representative of the monarchy's ceremonial functions. The Duke of Kent's early public work included attending memorial services for his late father and representing the royal family at military and veterans events. These appearances established his connection with the armed forces and veterans organizations that would become a central theme of his later royal career. His sincere manner and obvious respect for military service resonated with audiences and established his credibility in these roles. Media coverage of Edward's early public appearances was generally positive, noting his serious demeanor and dedication to duty. The press appreciated his accessible manner and his ability to engage meaningfully with the people he met during official engagements. This positive public reception would prove an enduring asset throughout his royal career. In 1955, Edward began his military career by accepting a commission as a second lieutenant in the Royal Scots Greys, a cavalry regiment with distinguished battle honors and strong royal connections. This choice reflected both family tradition and personal inclination, as Edward had always shown interest in military history and the armed forces. The decision also aligned with expectations that royal dukes should demonstrate their commitment to national service through military careers. His initial training at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst was rigorous and comprehensive, covering tactical instruction, leadership development, and the practical skills required of a cavalry officer. Edward's instructors noted his serious approach to military education and his determination to meet the same standards expected of all officer candidates. He graduated from Sandhurst with creditable marks and the respect of his instructors and fellow cadets. The choice of the Royal Scots Greys proved fortunate for Edward's military development. The regiment's combination of traditional ceremonial duties and modern operational requirements provided excellent preparation for his dual role as a working soldier and representative of the royal family. His fellow officers quickly accepted him as a capable colleague rather than merely a royal figurehead. Edward's early military training established patterns of discipline and service that would characterize his entire career. The Army's emphasis on duty, hierarchy, and practical achievement complemented the royal values of service and dedication, creating a coherent foundation for his adult life. Edward's military service took him to various overseas postings that provided practical experience of Army life and international affairs. His first significant deployment was to Germany, where British forces maintained a substantial presence as part of NATO's Cold War strategy. This posting exposed him to the realities of military service during a period of international tension and gave him insight into Britain's role in European security. Subsequent service in Hong Kong and Cyprus provided Edward with experience of Britain's remaining imperial responsibilities and the challenges of maintaining order in politically complex environments. These postings were particularly valuable for his development as they required sensitivity to local conditions and the ability to represent British interests diplomatically while fulfilling operational military duties. Throughout his overseas service, Edward maintained his royal obligations through correspondence and occasional ceremonial duties when military leave permitted. This balance between military professionalism and royal representation established a pattern that would characterize his entire career. His commanding officers consistently praised his dedication to duty and his ability to maintain high standards while managing competing demands on his time. The international experience gained during military service proved invaluable preparation for Edward's later royal career. His first-hand knowledge of military operations and understanding of international affairs enhanced his credibility when representing Britain abroad and strengthened his ability to relate to service personnel and veterans throughout his royal duties. Edward's military career progressed steadily through conventional promotion based on merit and experience. He achieved the rank of Major General through active service rather than honorary appointment, a distinction that enhanced his credibility within military circles and demonstrated his genuine commitment to professional military standards. His advancement reflected both personal competence and the Army's confidence in his leadership abilities. Throughout his military career, Edward accumulated various honorary appointments and ceremonial roles that reflected his royal status while complementing his professional achievements. These appointments included colonelships of several regiments and honorary positions within military institutions. These roles required genuine engagement rather than merely ceremonial presence, and Edward approached them with characteristic thoroughness and dedication. His military experience provided Edward with networks and knowledge that would prove invaluable throughout his later civilian career. The contacts he made during his service, the understanding of military culture he developed, and the practical leadership experience he gained all contributed to his effectiveness as a working member of the royal family with particular expertise in defense and veterans affairs. The combination of professional military achievement and royal status positioned Edward uniquely within both military and royal circles. His genuine military credentials enhanced his authority when undertaking royal duties related to the armed forces, while his royal status brought additional gravitas to his military roles. On 8 June 1961, Edward married Katharine Worsley at York Minster in a ceremony that combined royal grandeur with Yorkshire heritage. Katharine, daughter of Sir William Worsley, 4th Baronet, brought to the marriage deep roots in Yorkshire society and a background in music and the arts that complemented Edward's military and international interests. The wedding was the first royal ceremony held at York Minster for centuries, emphasizing the couple's connection to northern England. Katharine's background represented a departure from the traditional pattern of royal marriages to foreign royalty or major aristocratic families. Her father's baronetcy was ancient but not grand, and the family's wealth came from Yorkshire estates rather than great fortunes. This choice reflected changing attitudes within the royal family toward marriage and demonstrated Edward's independence in personal decisions. The couple had met through social connections in the early 1950s, and their relationship developed over several years before the engagement announcement in March 1961. Katharine's musical abilities, particularly her piano playing and her interest in the arts, created common ground with the Kent family's traditional emphasis on cultural activities. Her education and social background prepared her well for royal duties while allowing her to maintain personal interests. The marriage marked the beginning of Edward's transition from bachelor military officer to married royal duke with domestic responsibilities. Katharine's supportive approach to royal duties and her own charitable interests would enhance Edward's effectiveness in royal roles while establishing her as a respected member of the royal family in her own right. Edward and Katharine had 3 children who have pursued varied careers while maintaining connections to royal and public life. George Windsor, Earl of St. Andrews, born in 1962, followed academic and diplomatic paths, serving in the Foreign Office before pursuing business interests. His marriage to Silvana Tomaselli and their 3 children represent the continuation of the Kent line with an international flavor reflecting the family's cosmopolitan traditions. Lady Helen Windsor, born in 1964, pursued a career in fashion and public relations before marriage to Timothy Taylor, an art dealer. Their children include Columbus, Cassius, Eloise, and Estella Taylor, who have grown up largely outside public attention while maintaining family connections to royal occasions. Helen's career choices demonstrated the family's acceptance of professional pursuits outside traditional royal or aristocratic patterns. Lord Nicholas Windsor, born in 1970, followed an academic career before entering the diplomatic service and later pursuing business interests. His conversion to Roman Catholicism and subsequent marriage to Paula Doemi de Lupus reflected personal convictions that placed him outside the line of succession while maintaining family relationships. Their children represent another branch of the Kent family with international connections through Paola's Italian background. The grandchildren of Edward and Katharine have largely grown up outside the spotlight of royal publicity, reflecting changing attitudes toward privacy and the family's position as a cadet branch of the royal house. This approach has allowed them to pursue education and careers based on personal interests rather than public expectations while maintaining family traditions and connections. Throughout his royal career, Edward has maintained an extensive program of official duties with particular emphasis on military and veterans affairs, international relations, and cultural organizations. His long-standing presidency of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club has made him a familiar figure at Wimbledon, where his genuine interest in tennis and his approachable manner have enhanced the tournament's royal connections. His role as Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England has been significant within Freemasonry, providing leadership to an organization with international reach and historical importance. This appointment reflected the Masonic tradition of royal patronage while requiring genuine engagement with the organization's activities and values. Edward's approach to this role has emphasized Freemasonry's charitable work and its contribution to civil society. Edward's international work has included numerous overseas tours representing the Queen, particularly in Commonwealth countries and former British territories. His linguistic abilities and international background have made him an effective royal ambassador, Capable of engaging meaningfully with diverse audiences and representing British interests with authority and cultural sensitivity. As the longest-serving Duke of Kent in the title's history, Edward has demonstrated the continuing relevance of the royal family's cadet branches in modern constitutional monarchy. His career has shown how royal status can be combined with professional achievement and genuine public service, providing a model for other members of the extended royal family. Princess Alexandra Helen Elizabeth Olga Christabel was born on Christmas Day, 1936, at Coppens, arriving as the second child and only daughter of Prince George, Duke of Kent, and Princess Marina. Her birth on Christmas Day was seen as particularly auspicious, and her multiple names reflected the complex royal and aristocratic traditions from which she descended. Elizabeth honored her future queen cousin, while Olga remembered Princess Marina's mother, Queen Olga of Greece. The arrival of a daughter completed the immediate Kent family and provided Princess Marina with the female companionship she had hoped for among her children. Alexandra's birth occurred during a period of relative stability for the Kent family, before the international tensions that would lead to the Second World War and the tragedy that would reshape all their lives. Her early months were spent in the culturally rich atmosphere of Coppens, surrounded by the artistic and intellectual influences her parents cultivated. Alexandra's christening reflected the international connections of the Kent family, with sponsors representing various European royal houses and British aristocratic families. These early ceremonial appearances established her place within the broader royal family while highlighting the Kent branch's particular position as a bridge between British and continental royal traditions. The princess's birth attracted considerable public interest, as she represented the new generation of the royal family and embodied the glamorous image associated with her parents. Press coverage emphasized her Christmas Day arrival and the romantic appeal of the Kent family's cosmopolitan lifestyle, themes that would continue to characterize public perceptions of Alexandra throughout her childhood and early adult life. Alexandra's childhood at Coppens was marked by the unique blend of royal formality and artistic freedom that characterized her parents' approach to family life. Prince George and Princess Marina were determined that their children should appreciate both their royal heritage and the broader cultural traditions of Europe, creating an environment where multiple languages, musical education, and artistic appreciation were considered essential elements of proper upbringing. The princess showed early signs of the intelligence and social grace that would distinguish her adult career. Visitors to Coppens noted her precocious ability to engage with adult conversations and her natural charm when meeting visitors from various backgrounds. These early social skills, combined with her linguistic abilities, marked her as particularly well-suited for the public roles that royal life would eventually require. Alexandra's relationship with her brothers was close but distinct, as she occupied a unique position as the only daughter and the child who most clearly inherited Princess Marina's social gifts. Her education began with private tutors at Coppens, who emphasized languages, history, and the cultural knowledge considered appropriate for a royal princess of her generation. This foundation would prove invaluable throughout her later public career. The atmosphere at Coppens during Alexandra's early childhood was one of cultured domesticity, with regular visits from artists, musicians, and international figures who enriched the family's intellectual environment. This exposure to diverse perspectives and cultural traditions would shape Alexandra's later approach to royal duties and her particular effectiveness in international and cultural roles. The death of Prince George in 1942 devastated 6-year-old Alexandra and fundamentally altered her childhood experience. Suddenly deprived of her father's presence and guidance, she found herself in a household dominated by her mother's grief and the practical challenges of wartime life. Princess Marina's strength in managing these circumstances provided Alexandra with a powerful model of female resilience and dignity under pressure. The war years at Coppens were characterized by rationing, security concerns, and the constant awareness of national crisis. Alexandra's education continued under challenging circumstances, with her tutors adapting to wartime conditions while maintaining the high standards Princess Marina demanded. These experiences of hardship and uncertainty during her formative years contributed to Alexandra's later reputation for resilience and adaptability. King George VI's concern for his sister-in-law and her children ensured that Alexandra and her brothers received appropriate support and guidance during this difficult period. The king's interest in their welfare included regular visits to Coppens and careful oversight of their education and development. This royal attention helped maintain their position within the family while providing emotional support during a traumatic time. The wartime experience of loss and endurance profoundly influenced Alexandra's character and her later approach to royal duties. Having experienced genuine hardship during childhood, she developed empathy and understanding that would enhance her effectiveness in charitable work and her ability to relate to people facing difficulties in their own lives. In 1947, Alexandra entered Benendon School, a prestigious girls' boarding school known for its academic standards and its tradition of educating daughters of the aristocracy and upper middle classes. The choice of Benendon reflected Princess Marina's belief in the importance of formal education for royal women, and her determination that Alexandra should develop independence and confidence outside the protected environment of royal palaces. At Benendon, Alexandra excelled academically while developing the social confidence and leadership abilities that would serve her throughout her royal career. Her classmates noted her natural authority and her ability to inspire loyalty and friendship among her peers. The school environment allowed her to experience normal competitive education while providing the security and discretion necessary for a member of the royal family. Alexandra's academic interests centered on languages, literature, and history, subjects that would prove directly relevant to her later royal and charitable work. Her teachers recognized her genuine intellectual curiosity and her particular gift for understanding and relating to people from diverse backgrounds. These abilities, combined with her royal training in protocol and public behavior, prepared her exceptionally well for her future career. The friendships Alexandra formed at Benendon provided her with a network of contemporaries who would remain important throughout her life. These relationships, based on shared educational experiences rather than royal protocol, gave her access to honest friendship and practical support that complemented her official relationships within royal and official circles. Alexandra's introduction to official royal duties began in the mid-1950s as Queen Elizabeth II recognized the need for working members of the royal family to support the expanding demands of modern constitutional monarchy. Alexandra's education, linguistic abilities, and natural charm made her particularly suitable for public engagements, and she quickly established herself as one of the most effective members of the younger generation of the royal family. Her early public appearances included attendance at cultural events, charity functions, and ceremonial occasions that allowed her to gain experience while contributing meaningfully to royal representation. Alexandra's approach to these duties was characterized by genuine interest in the people and organizations she encountered, rather than merely fulfilling ceremonial obligations. This authentic engagement enhanced her reputation and effectiveness. The princess's first overseas tours in the late 1950s demonstrated her particular aptitude for international representation. Her linguistic abilities and cultural knowledge, combined with her natural diplomatic instincts, made her an effective ambassador for British interests abroad. These early successes established her as one of the monarchy's most valuable assets for international relations. Alexandra's growing reputation for competence and dedication led to increasing responsibilities and higher profile assignments. By the early 1960s, she had established herself as an indispensable member of the working royal family, with particular expertise in cultural affairs, international relations, and charitable work involving health and welfare organizations. In a decision that reflected both personal interest and strategic royal planning, Alexandra undertook nursing training at Great Ormond Street Hospital in the early 1960s. This choice demonstrated her commitment to practical service and provided her with professional credentials that enhanced her authority when undertaking charitable work related to health and medical causes. The training also allowed her to develop relationships within the medical profession that would prove valuable throughout her career. Alexandra's nursing experience was genuine rather than merely ceremonial, involving direct patient care and the full range of professional responsibilities expected of qualified nurses. Her colleagues noted her dedication and competence, treating her as a professional equal rather than a royal figurehead. This authentic engagement with medical work established her credibility within healthcare circles and informed her later charitable activities. The knowledge and experience gained through nursing training influenced Alexandra's approach to her growing portfolio of charitable patronages. She brought practical understanding to her work with medical charities and hospitals, enabling her to make meaningful contributions beyond ceremonial visits. Her medical background also enhanced her effectiveness when representing health-related causes internationally. Alexandra's commitment to medical and welfare causes reflected both personal conviction and the royal family's recognition of the importance of health and social welfare in modern society. Her combination of professional training and royal status created unique opportunities to advance causes and organizations that might otherwise have struggled to gain public attention and support. On 24 April 1963, Alexandra married Angus Ogilvy at Westminster Abbey in a ceremony that combined royal tradition with elements reflecting the bride and groom's personal preferences. Angus, second son of the Earl of Airlie, brought to the marriage a background in business and finance that complemented Alexandra's royal and charitable interests. His decision to decline a royal title reflected the couple's preference for a partly private life outside the full constraints of royal protocol. The marriage represented a successful balance between Alexandra's royal obligations and her desire for personal fulfillment. Angus's business career provided financial independence that allowed the couple to maintain their own household while supporting Alexandra's royal duties. His understanding of commercial and financial matters also proved valuable in managing charitable organizations and royal estates. Angus's integration into royal life was facilitated by his aristocratic background and his natural understanding of the social and ceremonial requirements of Alexandra's position. However, his maintenance of independent business interests and his informal approach to royal protocol created a model for royal spouses that influenced later marriages within the family. This balance between support and independence became particularly significant as royal marriage patterns evolved. The couple's approach to royal duties emphasized teamwork and shared commitment while respecting their individual strengths and interests. Angus's business acumen complemented Alexandra's charitable and diplomatic work, creating partnerships with organizations that benefited from both royal patronage and practical business guidance. Alexandra and Angus had 2 children who have pursued careers largely outside the traditional royal sphere while maintaining family connections and occasional public appearances. James Ogilvy, born in 1964, followed interests in publishing and media before establishing himself in business ventures that reflected his independent approach to career development. His marriage to Julia Rawlinson and their children represent a branch of the extended royal family that operates largely outside public attention. Marina Ogilvy, born in 1966, pursued artistic interests and married Paul Mowat in a ceremony that attracted media attention due to its unconventional elements and Marina's outspoken personality. Her subsequent career as an artist and her involvement in various creative projects reflected the family's traditional interest in cultural activities while demonstrating contemporary approaches to royal family careers and public engagement. Both children were educated privately but encouraged to develop independent interests and career paths. Their parents' approach emphasized the importance of self-reliance and professional achievement while maintaining family traditions and connections. This balance between royal heritage and personal independence influenced the next generation's approach to public life and career choices. The grandchildren of Alexandra and Angus have grown up with minimal public attention, reflecting changing attitudes toward privacy and the extended royal family's role in contemporary society. Their education and career choices have been based primarily on personal interests and aptitudes rather than public expectations, demonstrating the success of their family's approach to balancing royal connections with private life. Throughout her royal career, Alexandra has maintained an extensive portfolio of charitable patronages encompassing health, welfare, education, and cultural organizations. Her approach to charitable work has emphasized hands-on involvement rather than merely ceremonial support, drawing on her nursing background and genuine interest in the causes she represents. This authentic engagement has enhanced both her personal satisfaction and the effectiveness of her charitable contributions. Alexandra's work with medical charities has been particularly significant, building on her professional nursing experience to provide informed leadership and advocacy. Her patronage of organizations such as the Royal London Hospital and various medical research foundations has involved regular visits, fundraising activities, and strategic guidance that has contributed meaningfully to their development and success. Her cultural patronages have reflected the Kent family's traditional interest in the arts, including support for musical organizations, museums, and educational institutions. Alexandra's approach to cultural patronage has emphasized accessibility and education, working to expand public engagement with arts and culture rather than merely supporting elite institutions. This democratic approach has been particularly effective in building public support for cultural causes. International charitable work has allowed Alexandra to combine her diplomatic skills with her philanthropic interests, supporting organizations that operate across national boundaries and represent British values abroad. Her linguistic abilities and cultural knowledge have made her particularly effective in this international context, enhancing both the charity's work and Britain's soft diplomatic influence. Following Angus Ogilvy's death in 2004, Alexandra has continued her royal and charitable duties while adapting to widowhood and the changing demands of advancing age. Her reduced schedule has focused on her most important patronages and commitments while allowing more time for family relationships and personal interests. This transition has been managed with characteristic grace and practical common sense. Alexandra's position within the modern royal family reflects her successful career as a working member of the monarchy and her continuing relevance despite changing circumstances. Her experience and judgment remain valuable assets for the institution, particularly in matters involving charitable organizations and international relations. Her advice and support continue to be sought by younger members of the royal family. The princess's legacy includes not only her specific charitable achievements, but also her demonstration of how royal status can be combined with professional competence and authentic personal engagement. Her career has provided a model for effective royal service that emphasizes substance over ceremony while maintaining appropriate dignity and protocol. Alexandra's continuing public appearances and charitable work represent the enduring value of the royal family's cadet branches in supporting the monarchy's role in national life. Her dedication and competence have enhanced public respect for the institution while demonstrating the positive contributions that conscientious royal service can make to society. Prince Michael George. Charles Franklin was born on 4th of July 1942 at Coppens, arriving during one of the most challenging periods of the Second World War. His birth date, American Independence Day, proved symbolically significant when he was named Franklin in honor of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, reflecting the vital Anglo-American alliance and Prince George's international diplomatic connections. As the youngest child of Prince George and Princess Marina, Michael entered a world of wartime uncertainty and family tragedy that would profoundly shape his early years. The timing of Michael's birth, just weeks before his father's death and the aircraft accident that devastated the Kent family, meant that he would have no meaningful memories of Prince George. This absence of paternal influence distinguished Michael's upbringing from that of his siblings and created a particularly close relationship with Princess Marina, who became the sole guiding force in his early development. Michael's arrival brought both joy and additional responsibility to the Kent household during an extraordinarily difficult period. Princess Marina, already managing the challenges of wartime life while supporting Prince George's military duties, now faced the prospect of raising an infant alongside her older children. The baby's presence provided some consolation during the family's darkest hours while adding to the practical burdens of wartime motherhood. The choice of Michael's names reflected both family tradition and contemporary circumstances. George honored his father and the reigning monarch, while Charles remembered Prince George's father, the late Prince Francis of Teck. The inclusion of Franklin represented a departure from purely royal nomenclature and demonstrated the Kent family's international perspective and political awareness. Prince George's death on 25 August 1942 occurred when Michael was only 7 weeks old, leaving him as the sole member of the family with no personal memories of his father. This unique position within the family created both advantages and disadvantages for Michael's development, as he escaped the trauma of loss that affected his siblings, but also lacked the paternal influence that had shaped Edward and Alexandra's early years. Princess Marina's approach to raising Michael as a single parent reflected both her determination to honor Prince George's memory and her practical need to adapt to dramatically changed circumstances. She was particularly conscious of ensuring that Michael understood his father's character and achievements, despite having no direct experience of his presence. This effort involved careful curation of family stories, photographs, and memorabilia that would help Michael develop a connection to his late father. The infant's early development occurred entirely within the context of wartime Britain, with rationing, blackouts, and security concerns forming the backdrop to his daily life. Unlike his siblings, who retained some memories of pre-war normalcy, Michael's formative experiences were shaped entirely by the challenges and privations of wartime existence. This background contributed to his later resilience and adaptability in challenging circumstances. Princess Marina's devotion to Michael during his infancy was noted by family friends and staff, who observed her particular tenderness toward her youngest child. This special relationship, forged during the most difficult period of her life, would remain a defining element of Michael's family relationships throughout his childhood and adult life. Michael's education followed the pattern established for his siblings, beginning with private tutors at Coppens before proceeding to Sunningdale School and then Eton College. However, his educational experience was distinctively shaped by Princess Marina's determination that he should fully understand and appreciate his complex European heritage, particularly the Russian and Greek elements that connected the family to broader continental traditions. At Sunningdale, Michael demonstrated particular aptitude for languages and history, talents that reflected both inherited ability and the multicultural environment Princess Marina had created at Coppens. His facility with European languages distinguished him from many of his contemporaries and established early signs of his later linguistic expertise. Teachers noted his serious approach to learning and his mature understanding of international affairs. Michael's time at Eton continued his academic development while providing the social and cultural formation considered essential for his royal role. His contemporaries included future leaders in various fields, creating relationships that would prove valuable throughout his later career. His reputation at school was that of a diligent and reliable student with particular interests in history, languages, and international relations. The multicultural influences in Michael's upbringing became increasingly apparent during his school years as he demonstrated unusual sophistication in understanding European politics and cultural traditions. This international perspective, fostered by Princess Marina's careful attention to his broader education, would prove instrumental in shaping his later career choices and interests. Michael's linguistic abilities developed remarkably during his teenage years, encompassing not only the French and German that were standard for educated members of his class, but also Russian, which connected him directly to his maternal grandmother's heritage and the broader story of the displaced Russian imperial family. Princess Marina had maintained connections to Russian émigré communities, and she was determined that Michael should understand this significant aspect of his background. The study of Russian language and culture opened to Michael a world of literature, history, and political understanding that proved formative for his later interests and career. His fluency in Russian enabled him to engage directly with émigré communities and to understand the complex political and cultural currents that had shaped 20th century European history. This knowledge would prove particularly relevant during the later Cold War period and the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union. Michael's Russian interests extended beyond mere linguistic ability to encompass genuine scholarly understanding of Russian history, literature, and culture. He developed expertise in the complex genealogical and political connections between the Russian imperial family and other European royal houses, knowledge that enhanced his effectiveness in international royal and diplomatic circles. The combination of linguistic skill and cultural knowledge positioned Michael uniquely within the British royal family as someone capable of understanding and interpreting Russian and Eastern European affairs. This expertise would prove valuable both for his personal interests and for his later role in representing British interests in the post-Cold War period. Michael followed family tradition by pursuing a military career, accepting a commission in the 11th Hussars, Prince Albert's Own, in 1963. His choice of a cavalry regiment reflected both personal preference and the opportunities available to someone of his background and interests. The regiment's distinguished history and its continuing operational role provided excellent training in leadership and military professionalism. His military service included overseas postings that provided practical experience of Army life and international affairs during the Cold War period. Michael's linguistic abilities proved particularly valuable during assignments that required interaction with Allied forces or local populations. His understanding of European politics and culture enhanced his effectiveness as a British officer operating in complex international environments. The combination of military training and royal status created opportunities for Michael to serve in roles that required both professional competence and diplomatic sensitivity. His colleagues noted his serious approach to military duties and his ability to maintain high professional standards while managing the additional responsibilities that came with his royal position. Michael's military career provided him with leadership experience, practical skills, and international contacts that would prove valuable throughout his later civilian career. The discipline and organizational abilities developed during military service enhanced his effectiveness in subsequent business and charitable activities, while his military connections opened opportunities for continued service to veterans organizations and military charities. Following his military service, Michael transitioned to a civilian career that combined business activities with continuing royal duties. His linguistic abilities and international knowledge made him particularly effective in business ventures involving Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, where his cultural understanding and family connections provided unique advantages in developing commercial relationships. Michael's business interests included consultancy work, property development, and various commercial ventures that took advantage of the changing political and economic landscape following the end of the Cold War. His expertise in Russian language and culture positioned him advantageously as Western businesses sought to establish operations in newly accessible markets. His involvement in documentary and media projects reflected both personal interest and professional opportunity. Michael's historical knowledge and linguistic abilities made him an effective presenter and consultant for projects dealing with European royal history and 20th century political developments. These activities combined his scholarly interest with practical commercial applications. The balance between business activities and royal duties required careful management to avoid conflicts of interest while maximizing the positive contributions Michael could make in both spheres. His approach emphasized transparency and ethical business practices while maintaining the dignity and effectiveness expected of a working member of the royal family. Michael's marriage to Baroness Marie Christine von Reibnitz in 1978 created constitutional complications due to her Catholic faith, which temporarily excluded him from the line of succession under the terms of the Act of Settlement. The marriage ceremony took place in Vienna, as ecclesiastical authorities in Britain could not perform the ceremony under existing law. This constitutional issue was later resolved by changes to succession law that ended religious discrimination. Marie Christine brought to the marriage a Central European aristocratic background that complemented Michael's own international heritage and interests. Her linguistic abilities, cultural knowledge, and social skills enhanced the couple's effectiveness in international contexts and their ability to represent British interests abroad. Her Catholic faith and continental background added another dimension to the Kent family's already complex religious and cultural traditions. The couple's children, Lord Frederick Windsor, born in 1979, and Lady Gabriella Windsor, born in 1981, were raised with awareness of their complex heritage and the various cultural traditions represented in their family background. Both children have pursued careers that reflect their international upbringing while maintaining connections to royal family traditions and obligations. Michael and Marie Christine's approach to family life has emphasized education, cultural awareness, and international understanding while maintaining appropriate connections to royal family activities and obligations. Their children's career choices and personal lives have reflected this balance between royal heritage and contemporary professional and personal opportunities. Michael's later years have been marked by both continued public service and occasional controversies related to his business activities and international connections. His involvement with Russian business interests came under scrutiny following the deterioration of British-Russian relations, leading to his decision in 2022 to step back from certain activities and patronages to avoid any appearance of conflicted loyalties. The controversy surrounding Michael's Russian connections highlighted the challenges facing members of the royal family who pursue international business activities while maintaining official roles. His response to these challenges, including the voluntary relinquishment of certain positions, demonstrated awareness of the need to maintain public confidence while protecting the monarchy's reputation. Despite these difficulties, Michael's contributions to royal duties and charitable activities have been significant throughout his career. His linguistic abilities and cultural knowledge have made him valuable for international representation, while his military background has enhanced his effectiveness with veterans organizations and military charities. His expertise in genealogy and royal history has also contributed to the preservation and interpretation of royal family traditions. Michael's position as the youngest child of Princess Marina has allowed him considerable flexibility in balancing royal duties with personal interests and business activities. His career has demonstrated both the opportunities and the challenges that face members of the extended royal family in contemporary Britain, showing how royal status can be combined with independent achievement while maintaining service to the monarchy and the nation. The three children of Princess Marina, Duchess of Kent, have each carved distinctive paths through 7 decades of British royal life from the wartime 1940s to the present day. Prince Edward's dedication to military service and royal duty established him as a pillar of the working monarchy, while his presidency of Wimbledon and extensive charitable work have made him one of the most respected members of the royal family. Princess Alexandra's combination of professional nursing training with effective royal representation created a model of engaged public service that has influenced royal roles for women. Prince Michael's linguistic expertise and international business interests have demonstrated how royal status can be combined with specialized knowledge and commercial activity, despite occasional controversies. Together, the Kent children have represented continuity with change in the British monarchy's evolution. Their lives have spanned the transformation from wartime Britain to the modern constitutional monarchy, and their careers have shown how cadet branches of the royal family can contribute meaningfully to national life while pursuing individual interests and achievements. Their descendants continue this tradition, maintaining connections to royal life while pursuing diverse careers in diplomacy, business, the arts, and charitable work. The legacy of Princess Marina's children extends beyond their individual achievements to encompass their demonstration of how royal service can evolve to meet changing social expectations while maintaining traditional values of duty and public service. Their collective contribution has strengthened the monarchy's connection to diverse aspects of national life and has shown how the extended royal family can support the sovereign while developing their own areas of expertise and engagement.